All right, analyst Dr. Sam Amadi joins us now for a breakdown of everything that happened at the Senate today. Dr. Amadi, thank you for joining us on Newsnight.
Thank you.
Now 48 ministerial nominees. Let's look at, first of all, the composition. Would you say this is the team, the team that has the magic wand to deliver the campaign promises of President Tinubu to Nigerians?
Well, I think this is it's not a all-star team like President Obasanjo's team in that sense. I mean, we see so many politicians. Not that politicians are dull, but politicians who are just politicians. No remarkable attainment. We had 6 governors in the last, the second batch, and they were not remarkable in any way. Not that they're not brilliant, not that they didn't have certificates, but they were not remarkable. So that's nothing superlative about them. We've seen also a mixture of a sprinkling of very, very competent person. I mean, we're going to see Biodu Tijani, who IT entrepreneur, chief executive, young and competent. Of course, Kiemo might be controversial, but again, a lawyer is an advocate of Nigeria, a smart person, and even though he complained that he shouldn't have had a Minister of State, and of course we can't point to what he achieved there, but so you can't rule it out. Of course, you're going to see the Vice Chancellor of Base University, not a superlative scholar of law, I can say, but I mean, former Director General of Law School. It means that he has managerial competence to fit into an office. So a bit of persons you can't say are not qualified, but then not outstanding in any of those tests. Again, what will drive Tinubu's agenda if he remains president, that's a big if, is not just the quality of ministers, but the central logic of his administration. You see, the principal system of government to run is built around the president. Section 5 of the Constitution says executive power is in the president. Right. And then the first layer of service delivery in presidential government is the presidential staffers. Chief of staff is number one, the quality of guys who are there. SAs, the people who man domestic policy, that's the engine of this presidential government. So if they are quality persons, then they can structure, design policies that these ministers who are not sterling, who are not top class, but so can deliver well. So for me, I like to look at who are the guys in the inner room. Who is the chief of staff? Who are the special advisors in charge of critical aspects of policy? They will tell me more around the vision and the policy that will come out. The ministers with the permanent secretaries, as long as there's proper coordination, a less than qualitative minister actually can deliver qualitative outcome if you have policies designed, reviewed, regulated by what you call the White House, or sorry, the villa, that's the presidency, basically. And there's enough feedback and review. So I would say that this lackluster team on the whole does not predispose Tinubu's government, if he remains in power, to failure. No. With a not too smart or not too brilliant or not too accomplished cabinet, you can still achieve much if first there's a clear sense of mission. So far, I've not seen that degree of articulation and smartness in terms of policy.
But I'm going to come to some of the nominees here. But that going by what you said, that even without having superlative ministers or team members, so to speak, if you have solid policies,
policy persons.
But some would say that. Some would rather say that a team is as strong as its weakest link.
Well, yeah, in a way you're right. But the point is, you see, there are no governments that are presidencies that are completely made up of star performers. There are those who are there because of loyalty. I mean, because this is president's team. Basically, the presidency is the president. So if the president has a good vision on minders, what we call presidential minders, his favorite guys, the guys who see him in the morning and the evening, the guys he call upon to think through policy. If they are good, they make up for 40% or 50% of presidential governance. That's the point I'm making. People don't understand the character of presidential governance. If you look at withdraw from the US, it's about the president and his men. They say all the president's men. Now, that includes ministers, but really I'm saying that the ministers should be judged more from managerial capability.
Right.
Not necessarily from their intellect as much as they are smart guys, because the policy actually comes through what we call the villa, the president, the special advisors. Yeah. Again, you need to have good, the other thing I don't like about the team is the mixture, overwhelming presence of persons who are notable for corruption and for transactional politics. I mean, not that they're convicted, but people who don't have that profile. You see, Nigeria's major problem and the president's biggest weakness is state capture. The notion, if you look at the case against him in the tribunal, either they're about forgery, either they're about convictions, forfeiture, corruption. So he comes tainted to that degree. He needs to create a new optics. I needed persons who have that probity, and they're not men in that team. Okay, so that's the first failure for me, because in essence, look, Nigeria's development is hinged on recreating its politics away from state capture and rentier transitional corrupt politics.
Yes. Now let's take a look at some of the nominees, like Maria Mahmood Mokure, yes, from Kano State. You know, she was the commissioner for higher education in Kano State, appointed by the current chairman of the party, Ganduje. You know, Abdullahi Ganduje. So how would you? What's going on? Is it about time to begin to reward states that delivered the most votes, or was there anything spectacular about her performance while working with Ganduje at that time?
This is, you see, if you look at, especially among the ladies who are nominated, there's a sense of politics writ large, loyalty, reward. I mean, the lady who was there, who was removed, Shetty, even though not particularly superlative in qualification, a physiotherapist with some high-profile clients, okay? But we understand she is a loyalist of the former vice president. Now, this is a loyalist of Ganduje, who is Tinubu's right-hand man, and who has been put into chairmanship position. So it makes sense that she's bringing her loyalists. And again, if you look at Imo, the nominee, a commissioner from Hope Uzoduma's government, who he brought from Zenith Bank. I mean, so it's not a case of political heavyweights. Sometimes it's just about relatives, friends of major power breakers or powerful entities in the party. So I think President Tinubu has played largely to his reputation as a more of a political strategist than someone who is concerned for transformation. The team was put together with clear eye on rallying around top-notch political heavyweights. The Southeast, Hope Uzoduma controls the party. He's a governor, second-time governor, APC, so he made a choice. If you look at the Abia candidate, in her own right, a former honorable member, has some experience. But again, nobody was expecting that. So, people say, if you go to the other part of the country, you see that most people on that list are persons who either personally are related to the president, who have played role. Keyamo should be there. People he played a great role in the campaign. You know, we've seen
a lot about Keyamo. Let's leave that gentleman for now. And again, another woman, Lola Adejon, an IT and banking expert, about 3 decades in the banking industry. You know, used to be with Ecobank. How do you expect such a technocrat, so to speak, to bring a wealth of experience to bear in developing our economy?
I think there's something we call technopolis. Technocrats who have political experience. So people say we should move away from technocracy to technopolis. You just don't have to be a technocrat, a banker. Look, when Lee Iacocca was the CEO of Chrysler Motors, the US, people say, come and be president. He said, no, that's not a job. So being a great president of a car company like Chrysler, or being Emmet of GE, does not qualify you to be a great president. So there's a mistake here. Technocracy is actually good to understand innovative governance. But the real thing is also about some level of policy understanding, public sector policy. I don't know much about her depth, but the fact that she's a banker renowned does not necessarily translate to a good minister. And we've seen an example. We've also seen persons who don't have great certificates, if you like, who didn't go to Harvard or Yale or Cambridge, but performed very well because they have the capacity to understand the job description, and to manage people. There's the 3 components you're going to deal with. Policy, and I say the big policy belongs to the villa, the staffers who work with the president. Right. The small policy belongs to people. More, managing human resources, translating that policy brief, if they have a policy brief, to action and projects and performance. So yes, technocracy helps. That you're a banker, you've managed people, human beings, you manage processes, you understand that processes, and we're talking about entrepreneurial governance. So people want more. The Konji of this world, or obviously question of Obasanjo abroad, the Erufai that came in, they did well. But what I'm saying that the fact that we have this technocracy in does not take away. First, the 3 things that lead to performance is, how did you come in? Who brought you in? They brought you because you're a performer. So you have a presidential authorization to deliver. If you brought in because somebody who is a president's man brought you in, the mode of entry into government can condition performance. So I'm happy to have these technocrats. And like I said, Bosun, Pate, there are many great names on that list.
Many great names on the list. And another great name you mentioned, Lee Iacocca of Chrysalis. I wondered why you used him as an example. Yes, at the end of the day, no, it's fine. He did well and then, but it still messed up Chrysalis at the end of the day.
Sure, but the point is he refused to go to the presidency.
Yeah, I get you. Balance is very important
absolutely,
anyway.
Absolutely.
And then some will even say that Keyamo, we saw enough of him with the last administration. So why then bring him back?
Nothing spectacular. But give it to him.
But we can't decide for the president. The coming days will tell.
It's a presidential prerogative. But we judge outcome.
Deliver. Yeah, coming days will tell if these people will actually deliver on the president's mandate. A big thank you to Dr. Sam Amadi, Arise analyst, for joining us on Newsnight.